Hello, everyone, and today we are going to talk about the most significant generals of the American Civil War. So, without further ado, let's begin. So, the first general we're going to look at is none other than Ulysses Grant, who eventually will go on to become the 18th President of the United States of America. So, Grant, as we know, fought on the Union side. He wanted to preserve the Union. And what Grant is mainly known for are some of the major battles he fought, of course, such as the Siege of Vicksburg, which proved to be a devastating defeat for the Southern Confederate States. But also, apart from that, he was known for his tactics. And there's actually a great quote in Sun Tzu's Art of War that really summarizes his tactics. In Sun Tzu's Art of War, there's a quote which says, "Victorious warriors win first and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then try to win." And basically, what that little proverb of word of advice is saying is that victorious generals or military strategists, they always try to calculate every variable before they go to war. They make sure everything is in their advantage so that the moment they go to the battlefield, the battle's already won because they already planned everything ahead of time. Come prepared. Don't take a battle that you know ahead of time that you can't win. That's basically was Grant's main tactic. He used brute force, overwhelming numbers, the terrain, the weather, everything he could to his advantage. And if he knew he couldn't win, if he knew he couldn't take a battle, he wasn't going to try to basically be a hero. He would step away, regather his forces, and try as much as possible to turn the odds in his favor. The next general we're going to look at is none other than William Sherman, who also fought for the Union. William Sherman is mainly known for his scorched earth policy. And basically, scorched earth policy is the tactic of destroying everything that is useful towards your enemy. So as he went towards the south and advanced his forces, what William Sherman does is that he would destroy, railroads, plantations, probably even poison the water, burning certain plantations and fields. Basically, anything that would be useful to his enemy, he would try to either steal from them. If he couldn't steal it, he would destroy it. And this is actually a very significant policy because this is something that actually would eventually, basically, this was like a trend or a pattern we would see from this American Civil War and towards World War II and other major wars in history, is that the advent of total war would basically come about. Total war meaning that wars would be more massive in scale. They would also often involve civilians, and most civilians, unfortunately, would come caught in the crossfire of war. And William Sherman basically represented that trend of total warfare by not just attacking, the military forces, but also attacking the resources and the infrastructure as he fought his battles. Now, going to the Confederate side, we're going to begin with none other than the famous Robert E. Lee. Probably, arguably, honestly, one of the greatest generals in American history, but also, of course, controversial because he fought for the Confederacy, which, of course, we all know were traitors. But still, despite his political allegiance, he was still a very smart general, a military genius. And the great thing about Robert E. Lee from a military standpoint is that he was a really good tactician, so he knew how to win battles even when all the odds were against his favor. So this is basically the opposite strategy of Grant. Grant said, "I'm not gonna take a battle. I know I have time. I can't win." But Lee said, "I'm gonna take any battle I can, and if the odds aren't in my favor, I'm gonna try to take everything, even if it's an obstacle, and find a way to use it to my advantage." And so basically what Lee did is that he basically won unwinnable battles. He saw a door where there was none, and he used his aggression and his basically military genius to find a way to outmaneuver and win battles that most people at the time thought were unwinnable. So again, maybe not the greatest individual, but still, from a military standpoint, a very um, interesting and genius man. Last but not least is Stonewall Jackson. Stonewall Jackson also fought with the Confederacy, and He fought in some of the most significant battles along with Robert E. Lee, including the 7 Days Battle and most famously the Valiant Campaign. In the Valiant Campaign, he actually fought a battle in which his forces were only 17,000 and the Union forces were 60,000. Yet he still won, which shows how incredibly, smart and intelligent Stonewall Jackson was as a military strategist. And something interesting to know about Stonewall Jackson is that even though he's actually often overlooked, when I was actually reviewing polls for this presentation of, who many people, scholars and authors and, military academics think who were some of the top generals in the American Civil War, a lot of people actually cited him, even over Robert E. Lee, as one of the greatest generals in the war, because, just like Robert E. Lee, uh, he had the same advantage of really the same skill of fighting wars that most people at the time thought that just could not be won, of really outmaneuvering the enemy, the element of surprise, fighting against forces, that are much larger than you. He also specialized in these kind of battles, in this kind of strategy, but perhaps even to a greater degree than his counterpart Robert E. Lee. And so because of that, some people even rank him as even a greater general than Robert E. Lee. But that's for you to decide. Do your own research, look at these great generals, learn more about them, and come to your own conclusions. Because that's really what history and learning about history is all about: critical thinking and coming to your own conclusions. And this is the end of the presentation. Thank you for listening.